What if Katniss and Gale went into the games together? I think they would have spent the majority of the time pre-games arguing over who should get to go home. Katniss would probably point out that Gale has a larger family and he has more to provide for and he's more useful at home. Gale probably wouldn't have listened to that and just said that Katniss could take care of both of their families easily. She already does it, and that she's capable enough on her own. I can see each of them having private meetings with Haymitch trying to strategize how to get the other out. And unfortunately, I can actually see Haymitch preferring Gale. We have to remember that it's a horrible, horrible job being a mentor, and that oftentimes they had to pick which tribute they thought was most likely to make it out of the games. In the first games, Haymitch picked Katniss over Peeta, and they all knew this, because Haymitch felt like Katniss had a higher chance of actually surviving. But when you put Katniss and Gale both into the games, these are both very experienced hunters. Both have an almost equal chance of surviving within the arena, especially since we know they're going to ally up together. But it depends on who's more likely to get the most sponsors. And unfortunately, without Peeta, I don't think Katniss would have gotten many sponsors. Haymitch describes Katniss as a very unlikable person to her face. And this is something that is established throughout the series. She's not easy to get on with. She's not good in front of the cameras. She's not really good at getting people to like her, but she's very good at getting people to respect her. But with the interviews and the pre-game prep, it really is more about getting people to like you than it is getting them to respect you. Because the Capital people want entertainment. They don't want a leader. And I can see Katniss and Gale going into the interviews with similar mindsets and similar dispositions, but it would work a lot more in Gale's favour. Because people tend to be more supportive of a man who's stoic and off-putting than a woman who is stoic and off-putting. They might have played the romance angle, but much less strategically than the way that Peeta put it. It would probably be a lot more similar to Glimmer and Cato, which is cute, but it didn't grip the audience as much. And so with Katniss and Gale, I really think it comes down to what happens in the arena. And I think if they met Rue, this is where things become really complicated. Because both Katniss and Gale know that they are the sole providers for their family. They know that their families need them to survive. But if they meet a child who is innocent and kind and doesn't deserve to die, I think that'll really, really sit with them. And I think the decision will become less of who do we save, Katniss or Gale, and more who do we save, Rue or our families back home. And I honestly don't know which one they would have picked. So I think Katniss and Gale would have teamed up, gone off on their own, and they wouldn't have actively hunted tributes, but they would have set traps for them. Gale would use his snares, and Katniss would stand guard with the bow and arrow if she was able to get it. But if it came down to just Katniss and Gale, then I do think that Gale would have been quicker to take himself out. Because Katniss is smart, but is very often playing catch-up to everyone else. So I think with Gale and Katniss in the arena, I think they would have been fighting the whole time, and I think they would have been trying to get each other out. But I do think that Gale would have gotten Katniss out in the end. But if it came down to Gale, Katniss, and Rue, then I genuinely don't know, and it's not something I really want to think about because that is just so heartbreaking to imagine.